This is the story of a reasonable fellow whose skin and eyes began turning yellow. His name was Brock and he was terrified because his diagnosis had been verified. Liver failure, jaundice, no insurance. For him getting dough was a seldom occurrence. He was educated in the ways of chemistry, but underemployed, he didn't use his degree. He applied all over, got only one call back. This is the reason he works at the pizza shack. Now his fate is sealed if he can't pay the bill. What's he supposed to do? Maybe rob and steal? That ain't gonna happen, so peep his plot. He's gonna synthesize acid and profit a lot. He wasn't a drug dealer, all he knows is 6 kilos of LSD is 100 million doses. Brock didn't have his own laboratory, so this could have been a very short story if he didn't find a backer to supply the cheddar. So he called a Pablo who knew the game better. Now we got currency as well as a connection. It didn't take long to get a glassware collection, but by the time the precursor would arrive, he wasn't projected to still be alive to pay for treatment and keep him out of the grave. Pablo fronted the bread, now Brock was his slave. One death sentence denied, another acquired. Need and greed conspired, look what they inspired. He produced the first batch, instant success. But you know, with more money comes always more stress. Yes, it's the story of a man with his back against the wall. He's gotta strive hard or he could lose it all. When his chips were down, he shoved them all in the pot. Now his only lifeline left is the skills that he's got. When you knock on the devil's door, sometimes you get a reply. You learn a lot about yourself when you're about to die. Brock's girlfriend was thankful he wasn't dead. Losing another man is something she'd always dread. But there was one thing that didn't make sense, was how did he take care of all the expense? Though a trusting girl, she suspected deceit, so behind his back she searched for a receipt. She found it in the dresser drawer tucked away. She skipped to the bottom, this is what it say. Bill to the Koch brothers paid in full. Theory confirmed, no more would the wool pull. Elvira kept digging, she found clues abound. So much evidence was left lying around. What's her gotta mean? What's the glass depot? Why does he know some guy named Repo? She knocked on doors demanding explanations. Naive to Repo's volatile reputation. He opted to take a hostage for one big score. Take me to your crib and unlock the door. See, Repo's job was distributing for Brock. Prior to that it was selling crack rock. But he'd rather extort Brock's entire stash that was worth an estimated $1 billion in cash. As they headed back, Brock turned off the shower, dried himself off, then his house lost power. The DEA were about to raid his place. They had enough evidence to make their case. Repo arrived and assessed the situation, but he pressed forward, no capitulation. He snuck through the back door hoping to steal his prize. The odds are long and he will have to improvise. Realize it's the story of a man with his back against the wall. He's gotta strive hard or he could lose it all. When his chips were down, he shoved them all in the pot. His only lifeline left is the skills that he's got. When you knock on the devil's door, sometimes you get a reply. You learn a lot about yourself when you're about to die. Take pity on the man who doesn't own a gun. Naked but for a towel and no place to run. Being blackmailed for his entire supply. Without hesitation, he gives it to the guy. Seconds later, the bedroom was swarming with fuzz. Everyone got arrested like development was. Repo was in possession at the time of arrest, so he was convicted as you might have guessed. Brock didn't go out guns a-blazing like Scarface. He got an attorney and tried to beat the case. One cheek in the chain that could sink the whole sting. Elvira at the scene and her fingerprints on everything. The DA argued that Brock knew organic chem, plus the browser history that belonged to both of them. The defense argued that's a contradiction. A chemist doesn't Google chemistry, no conviction. Throughout the trial they raised reasonable doubt. They still waited 3 days while the jury was out. They returned a hung jury, they were at a loss. Since no harm was done, the case was just tossed. Brock got out of jail and collected his possession. One towel that he wore during the arrest in question. He just got away with the felonious caper, because that towel was basically blotter paper. No one suspected that before the arrest. He poured out 8 ounces and gave Repo the rest. So now he's got linens worth about 50 million. Time to get rich and repay the Brazilian. It seems like victory, that's what you might guess. But you know, with more money comes always more stress. Yes, it's the story of a man with his back against the wall. He's gotta strive hard or he could lose it all. When his chips were down, he shoved them all in the pot. His only lifeline left is the skills that he's got. When you knock on the devil's door, sometimes you get a reply. You learn a lot about yourself when you're about to die.